Present poem. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order. Home. I'll bow, please. Over. Home.
Good morning, everyone. And welcome to the State of the Cities. We thank you for being here. I have the pleasure of knowing many of you in this room. If you do not know me, I am Nicole Miller, and I am the president of the Berkley Chamber of Commerce. We are so grateful to have everyone in the room today, but especially to our Beaumont members and for sponsoring the event today. So thank you so much for coming in and doing that sponsorship. We at the Chamber always look forward to putting on this event. It's a great opportunity to hear from the people leading the growth and development of our area and to learn what's happening, how it will impact you, and how you can be involved. I know that we at the Chamber have had a busy and successful year. We brought a new city guide to our area and we'll be launching another program to promote our Chamber businesses, and Darlene Rothman will be presenting those a little bit later in the program. Looking around the room, I'm pleased to see some of our current and former member elected officials today. Can all of you please stand up? We have State Representative Robert Wittenberg. Getting the food.
Good practice.
Yes. Perfect timing.
Thank you.
We have Oakland County Treasurer Andy Meisner. Berkley Mayor Dan Turbreck, and Huntington Woods Mayor Bob Paul. Both of these gentlemen you'll be hearing from a little bit later in the program. We also have Berkley Mayor Pro Tem Steve Baker, Berkley Council members. We have quite a few here today. We have Jack Blanchard, Bridget Dean, Ross Gavin, Dennis Hennon, and Eileen Stedman. We also have Huntington Woods Commissioner Jules Olsman. It's quite a long list here. Berkley Board of Education Vice President Keith Lodgson. Berkley Board of Education Treasurer Michelle Moses. And Berkley Board of Education Trustees Mike Tripp, Roger Blake, and Ron Justice. Thank you all for joining us. I know everybody has a very busy day, so we'll get going. It is with the great pleasure that it is time to introduce the Best of Berkley Awards for 2019. These awards are given to Chamber members who exemplify leadership, have passion for the Berkley area, and are committed to making our community shine. Our first Best of Berkley Area Award is for Business Person of the Year, and this year's recipient is Andrew Gilbert, or Andy as most of us know him. He and his co-owner wife, Lisa, own Berkley Eyewear and Local Sunglass Company, which is just down the street here on Coolidge, and it's a store providing the highest quality name brand frames and lenses. I know many of you are wearing their glasses today. Andy believes that if you want to change something, you must get involved. Don't just talk about what needs to happen, help be a part of the solution and do something about it. A perfect example is the Berkley Street Art Fest. When he was approached by the chamber to bring we wanted to bring a new street festival to downtown Berkeley, and we wanted to host it on Coolidge, Andy stepped right up to make that happen. He joined the committee and was key in getting the rest of Coolidge businesses on board with it. He visited each and every one of them and asked them to support it financially, even if with a small donation. In fact, in his first 2 years of existence, he secured the majority of the sponsorship money needed for the event. And even in his third year, he was a key person raising funds for the event. And I'm happy to say that in our third year, we were a profitable event. He has been great at recruiting people to become involved in the event so that it continues to grow. In addition, Andy serves as chair of the Berkeley Downtown Development Authority. And with the departure of the director, the recent departure, he has taken over some of those responsibilities as well, all the while continuing to run that eyeglass factory. Fair, determined, hardworking are all adjectives that come to mind when you think and work with Andy. We at the Chamber truly appreciate Andy for his dedication in making Berkeley a better place to be. I present to you Business Person of the Year, Andrew Gilbert.
Good morning. Twice this year, I've had the honor of receiving an award for Business Owner of the Year, once with Oakland County and then today. And for this, I'm truly humbled and honored. So I'd like to say thank you. I was also reminded again this week that behind every good man, there's a better woman. And in this case, it is no different. My wife, Lisa, is not an attention-seeking type. She loves what she does, and she is happiest helping people pick out frames and fit them into new glasses. For those of you who've bought glasses, you know how much she loves doing this. Without her, Berkeley Eyewear likely would not be what it is today, nor would I really be doing much of anything with me. So I would like to say at this time, I would like to recognize her for the amazing work she's done in the last 10 years at Berkeley Eyewear, and it's most importantly for the last 29 years, which she's done with me. Amazing. Thank you.
Probably I should have done this ahead of time, before you actually said anything, but this we present to you. Thank you. I need glasses, ironically. And now our next award is Berkeley Business of the Year, which goes to Such Great Heights Marketing. This small marketing agency specializes in helping restaurants, the hospitality industry, and small retailers succeed online by providing quality merchandising and marketing services. When Such Great Heights Marketing joined the Chamber in 2013, owners Brett and Tara immediately became involved, offering pro bono marketing services to the Chamber. So many of the Chamber marketing materials you have seen are created by Such Great Heights Marketing. The front side of the Every Door postcard, which is created 3 times a year, the flyer, ads, and sign under the marquee promoting Explore Berkeley gift certificates, and the Berkeley Scavenger Hunt logo and our former Berkeley Bucks program are just a few of the materials created by Such Great Heights Marketing. They are key volunteers for the Berkeley Pub Crawl, serving on the committee for the past 6 years. Every year, Such Great Heights creates a new logo and all the marketing materials for the event and also assists with the social media. They are always coming up with ways to improve the event so it will be more enjoyable each year. The Chamber's Pub Crawl is not only an important event to draw attention to our local restaurants and bars, but it's also how the Chamber raises money to support the Berkeley Holiday Lights Parade. Both of them serve on the Chamber's marketing committee, providing input and ideas on ways we can draw more attention to Berkeley businesses. They have a passion to see small business succeed and offer advice all the time. We're presenters for the Chamber's Berkeley U series, giving tips on how to best use Instagram. The Chamber's small part-time staff would not be able to do all of the events and marketing programs for its members without its dedicated volunteers. And that is exactly what Brett and Tara, owners of Such Great Heights Marketing, are. We are truly grateful for them to being part of the chamber. I am thrilled to present them with Business of the Year. Please welcome Brett and Tara to the podium. Let's do this right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I'm not that tall. So 7 years ago, I had a hankering for shawarma. And I wandered my way over to Mr. Kebab, as one does, and got to talking with Sam. And he shared with me how frustrating it was that he wanted to keep up with the online presence. He wanted to do Facebook and he wanted to do more, but there really wasn't any resources available, and there wasn't anybody who was affordable enough for a small business to go to. My husband was working for a marketing company and looking for a new adventure, so I put the two of them together, and magic happened. Since then, we've been able to help so many Berkley businesses feel more comfortable online, or even helping them and doing it for them so that they can focus on what they do best. We are so grateful to be able to do so much with the chamber. The pub crawl logo is probably our favorite time of year. It's been able to allow us to really kind of flex our muscles and do some fun things. We're members of this community and we love giving back. When I say we, I do all the talking and he does all the actual work. So I'll come up with a crazy idea and he'll tell me it's literally not possible and then figure out how to do it. So I just wanted to, from the bottom of both of our hearts, thank you so much for accepting us. Thank you so much for letting us help you. And a big, huge shout out to the chamber, to all the businesses, and mostly Mr. Kebab for the excellent shawarma that got this all started. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Brett and Tara. Congratulations to the Best of Berkley honorees. Before we start our State of the Cities, we'd like to acknowledge the past Best of Berkley recipients. And there are a couple here around the room today. If you could please stand, just we'll give you a quick round of applause. And now the State of the Cities. Our first address comes from the Executive Director of the Berkley Area Chamber of Commerce, Darlene Rothman.
Thanks, Nicole. I want to thank everyone for joining us again for the 19th Annual State of the Cities. And thanks for continuing to support the community and all the special things that you do. I remember doing this my first time 7 years ago, and actually I was just talking to Mitchell Moses. He's actually the one who told me about the opportunity to be with the chamber. And so I've been doing the State of the City now for 7 years. When I first walked in that first time, I knew some of you a little bit from being in the community for so many years. But now when I come in, I was probably a little bit shyer. I never was shy, but a little bit shyer then. And now I look around the room and I see a lot of friends. I see a lot of familiar faces. And that's what this whole community is about. And I appreciate all that you are doing, everyone that's in here, and that we have created this strong bond between myself and you and everyone else that's here. I also want to thank Roseanne and Jane, who are in the back. So come on forward a little bit. So Roseanne is the events and operations manager for the chamber. She is one of the driving forces of much of the success that happens with the chamber. She handles most of the events. She handles all forms of communication and the business operations with the assistance of Jane Miller. So they're a strong part. This is a team, and we email at crazy times. Roseanne in the morning, me late at night. But it all works out because we both work from home and get everything done with all the partnerships here. So thank you, Roseanne and Jane. I also want to thank a couple of our current board members. We have a lot of former board members here too. If you can stand, we've got Adam Carback, Joe Mulholland, and Tim Murad, and they all happen to be at the same table. With such a small staff, as you've heard, really our board and volunteers are really what helps drive the force for the chamber to do as much as we do. I want to thank again Andy Gilbert and Brett and Tara Hines for always going above and beyond and really looking out for the greater good of the community. They do this going the extra mile in addition to what they do for their business. And I'm happy that they're being honored today. And each year, anyone who's received these awards is because they get the whole picture and have gone above and beyond. So thank you today. Looking around the room, so many of you have partnered together. You've heard some of them already. So if you have partnered with at least one person in the room, raise your hand for any kind of, okay. If you have partnered with 2 or more people, keep your hand raised. If it's 5 or more, keep your hand raised. There's still a few. Yep. This is the community effort that's going on in the room, and even more so in the room and in the community. And this is one of the gems that doesn't show up in all the statistics that we see. It's one of the heartwarming aspects of why we like to work and live in this community. Imagine if we double that amount next year, all the different partnerships and all the different experiences that we all will have. I want to talk about one of our newest collaborations, and that just came out last week, and it's the Berkley Huntington Woods City Guide magazine. And we are thrilled to partner with the Ferndale Friends. This was their newest and largest publication, and it has been an absolute delight working with Steffi, Sue, and their staff in creating this new annual publication. We worked into the wee hours of the night working on this for the last couple months. Steffi always was up later than I was. And sometimes I got those emails in the morning. But we were thrilled to be working on this together. So Steffi and Sue, if you can stand up, I want you to see who our new partners are. So if you've all seen it, I hope you have and seen the articles. We have interviewed a lot of different people were interviewed for the magazine, and it highlights businesses, people in the community, organizations, and we couldn't get everyone in, so next year we'll get more people in. But it's always going to be highlighting the stories behind the stories, because we want this to be a magazine that everyone in the community holds on to and looks for guidance in the community. Also in the magazine is the chamber directory, and so if you're looking for something in the community, we ask that you look in the directory to keep everything local. That's what we're here all to do, and to invest locally. If you didn't get a magazine at home or at your business, we brought some here, so if you got one but you want to give another one to someone else, please share them. It started out we were going to print 14,000, and because this was doing so well, they printed 16,000. So we really are excited about this new venture, and hopefully you are too, because it's representing almost everyone here in the room. We also just this week launched a podcast, and it's going to be called Berkley Local, And it's going to be starting in January, and it's going to be spotlighting Berkley and Huntington Woods businesses. So chamber members can sign up and partner with another business person, and it's a 1-hour podcast, and it's for a very small fee. This isn't any fundraising thing for the chamber. It's really an opportunity for our businesses to have a new way to market and communicate. So it's only like $30 per member, and they will share that hour with another member. Either they can pick the member that they want to partner with, or we're randomly going to partner people up so there's more exposure and more interest, because it's not getting on the podcast and selling, it's really telling the story behind the story again. And it's going to be moderated by an experienced podcaster who's a local chamber business, Steve Johnson of the Motor City Brew Tours. And of course, we're always happy and thrilled with the successful chamber events that we have. This was the 18th annual Art Bash that was in downtown Berkeley, and there was over 150 artist booths this year. It's always affordable art. We have music, food vendors, and just the excitement that goes on, the whole atmosphere on 12 Mile at Art Bash. It's the single most successful day for most of the businesses on 12 Mile, and this is a day that is probably their biggest in sales, obviously the biggest in attendance. We bring 8,000 to 10,000 people to 12 Mile on that day. So it's just such a wonderful day in Berkeley. And we always hope for the sunshine that we have had every year, but I think once. And so this year was a beautiful sunny day, so it was a great day. We had our 3rd annual Berkeley Street Art Fest, and that was exciting. This is the 2nd year we were able to close Coolidge, and it was just a fun day with thousands of people coming out for the event. We had fabulous adult and chalk artists at creating chalk art on the ground there. And again, most of it was on 12 Mile and some on Dorothea. We had 4 new building murals painted. If you haven't seen all the murals throughout Berkeley, please look. They're on the front of buildings, on the backs of buildings. Hopefully, as the years go by, we're going to keep covering more and more of the walls. We had 2 permanent David Zinn mini murals. This is the 3rd year we've had David Zinn. He's an internationally known chalk artist, and in talking to him last year, he said he's done a couple permanent ones. So this year we had him do 2 permanent ones. There is one, there's 2 of them. The first one is at Balance Health and Wellness. You can see it driving up Coolidge. The second one is at the Berkeley Library, and we partner with the Friends of Berkeley to bring David's into to Berkeley. He's going to become one of our feature artists every year. And I'm not going to tell you where it is at the Berkeley Library because you have to look for it, but it's in the front towards the front of the building, and it's small, but you want to look for it because it's great. There's kids' activities, street entertainers, food trucks, artisan and sponsor booths. And people were able to visit up close more the Coolidge businesses because by having this event, it's the first time Coolidge has ever been closed. And what's nice between Art Bash and the Street Art Fest is that we hear people say, oh, they discovered new businesses that they didn't know existed before. That is key to why we want to be doing this. We want to keep bringing people back for the event and to come back throughout the year. Pub crawl continues to be very successful, and this year it was moved to a Saturday afternoon, and it was very well received. It was a concept that was welcomed by many of the people attending because it used to be on the Thursday after the Woodward Cruise, and some people do have to work on Friday, so not everyone could make it on the Thursday night. So it moved to Saturday afternoon, and it went very well. So it looks like that's what we're going to continue to do. We appreciate our continued partnerships with the Berkeley schools. It is a key component in the community, and many of you have heard me say that I believe they're the anchor of one of the strong anchors in the community. November, we co-host a networking event with bringing in realtors and chamber members, and it highlights the benefits of the community for realtors looking to know more about what's going on, so they can pass on to potential new residents. The chamber also gives every Berkley school staff a welcome back packet every year when they come back in August. And that's an opportunity for the business people who want to participate to actually market directly to the Berkley school staff. It's actually the only way to directly market to the staff. So we always encourage anyone to participate if you're a member. And the Hometown Art is an art show that comes, it's student artwork that's put in about 10 of the different buildings here. And it's a good way for the businesses to be involved with the schools. And it's really fun for the students to come out and see their artwork in a public building. And we continue to have the Explore Berkley gift certificates. Hopefully everyone has heard and seen of them. It was brought to our attention to do this because and we said, yes, we looked into a program that we thought worked for the community. And it's really to keep, money local. So if you're thinking about giving any gifts in the future and you're not sure what to get, give them an Explore Berkley gift certificate. There's about 30 businesses that participate, and they can be purchased through the Berkley Education Foundation's website or the Berkley Chamber website. This week we were honored with at the Berkley City Council meeting with a resolution that proclaims October as Chamber of Commerce Month in Berkley. So we appreciate that you acknowledge us, and again, we all working together for the greater good. So Nicole and I were honored to receive that resolution on behalf of the Berkley Area Chamber, and Nicole has it here. And our trick is where we're going to hang it since we don't have an official office. So we'll put it between houses. Chamber, really, we couldn't do it, what we do, without the incredible support of everyone here in the room. And we always want to keep doing more because we see and hear the momentum that's happening. So if you are around the city and don't see one of our stickers on a door, or you don't see a business listed in the directory that's out, please mention some things that you hear of what's going on in the community, because the more members that we have, the more that we can continue to do, and that's what we're striving to do, to keep supporting everyone here. So I really want to thank everyone for all that you do, because it really does make a difference. So thank you.
Thank you, Darlene. We appreciate everything that you do on a regular basis. It's incredible. Okay, so we're going to hear from the DDA. Our representative that was supposed to be here, Petro Dacopoulos, owner of Republica, his wife, and he just had a baby. So congratulations to them. So instead, we are going to welcome up board member Wayne Wodyka. If he could come up and say a few words with the DDA.
Thank you, Nicole. I walked in and Nicole grabbed me and said, "You're up." Oh, okay. Wodyka is a lot easier to pronounce than Drakopoulos. So, my name is Wayne Wodyka. I've been in business here in the community since 1992. We own Huntington Cleaners on 11 and Coolidge. We're a Huntington Woods business originally. Then we built our headquarters for our franchise systems here in Berkley on Coolidge, across from Little Caesars, about 15 years ago. And we're a stakeholder and property owner in Oak Park. So we have a genuine interest. We're on all three sides of the corner. We have a genuine interest in the business community and the health and well-being of the residential community in our area. So we're happy to be involved in the DDA. It's my second round with the DDA, and I was a past chamber president back in 95 and 96 when the Dream Cruise first started coming through. So I've been very active in the area. Happy to give a quick address here on what is happening with the DDA. I'd like to recognize a few of our board members, Matt, Mitchell, Andy, new member Scott Francis, Steve as well. Thank you. Just acknowledge them, please. They've been pretty steady. Seen through the agenda of the DDA. So there's a lot of good things going on. The DDA adopted this year a strategic plan in 2019 that we worked very hard on. Had a number of people involved in that, and it's a good plan. We're proud of it, and we're looking forward to seeing it develop. We've also developed a downtown master plan that it's in draft form today, should be ready to be presented to the council toward the end of 2019 or early 2020 is our hope. So we also feel very confident in the plan. There's a facade grant program that is ongoing. This year we awarded 3 facade grants. Those are grants, financial grants up to $2,500 for improvements of storefronts for signage or windows or doors or whatever to improve the facade and street look of the Berkley businesses. We had an award from the Spirit of Main Street, which was an Oakland County award, which is a rent subsidy program for businesses coming into the area and also helps to support the DDA's offices in the Folio building, which we just opened this calendar year. There's also a multi-community planning grant that was received by SIMCOG. It's a joint grant in cooperation with Berkley, Oak Park, and Huntington Woods. Very excited to be working in concert with all 3 of the cities to look at it's a comprehensive study to look at traffic flow and stormwater management on the Coolidge and 11-mile corridors. So we're excited to be kicking that off. We continue to collect data on the Coolidge Complete Street program, or the road diet, as it's referred. We'll continue to watch that program daily. We have identified a new executive director. We're excited about our candidate. We met this past couple weeks ago, approved contract negotiations to begin with this gentleman, and that is ongoing. Excuse me. He's a Canadian resident, which is kind of interesting. So he brings a little different flair to our community, but he's very solid individual, and I think will add quite a bit of talent to the DDA board, and will be a very strong conduit to the council and the various stakeholders within the community. So we're excited to have his contract discussions completed and get him started here very soon. Lastly, we at the DDA just look very forward, and we talk about this at length in our meetings about continuing to strive to have a comprehensive, positive, strong relationship with the council, all the councils in the area, all the residents in the area, all the businesses in the area, and try to take into account all the various agendas and objectives of the stakeholders in the community, and try to make good, positive, constructive decisions for the area. So thank you for your support, and I look forward to the rest of the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. We appreciate you coming up here impromptu. I know that's a big ask, so we appreciate that. And the Chamber really does look forward to being a partner with the DDA, with the cities, and to take our cities forward. Now we will hear from the Superintendent of Berkley Schools, Dennis McDavid.
They're already throwing stuff at me, so I'm used to it. As I begin, I want to thank the Berkley Area Chamber of Commerce. I want to thank President Miller, Executive Director Rothman, and the whole chamber for all that you do to support our community, our schools, and our kids. We also want to thank our communities, Berkley, Huntington Woods, and Oak Park. It'd be tough to imagine schools getting greater support than we get from all of you, so thanks so much for all of that. On behalf of the school district, I also want to add our congratulations to Such Great Heights Marketing and to Andy Gilbert, although I think it's to Lisa Gilbert. for their awards today. Your recognition is well deserved, and we appreciate your partnership. Before I address the state of the schools, I want to talk briefly about a ballot proposal that we have on the ballot a week from Tuesday. This proposal is to close the gap in the 18 mills from commercial property in our district for the district's operating millage. You're probably aware, and if you're not, I'll make you aware, that every recent study that's been done in the state of Michigan shows that schools are chronically underfunded. Not close to being funded properly, but chronically underfunded. In fact, a study done by former Lieutenant Governor Calley's task force found an annual $700 million deficit in funding for special education alone. $700 million a year just in special education. Over the term, the 8 years that he served, that's a $5.6 billion funding gap. So we're not, with our ballot proposal, we're not trying to collect at $5.6 billion. Thanks for a couple of chuckles there. But we are asking that the modest increase will allow us to direct more resources to our schools. So with that, just want to tell you that one of the joys of my job is to go and visit our schools. And about 4 years ago, I was at Rogers Elementary. We had a new teacher. I was in it was a second or third grade class. Brand new teacher, just out of college. And when I go into schools, I wear my picture ID. And picture ID was taken about 3 years prior to me being in there. And so the kids, when a new person comes in, and some of them, I'm familiar to some of them, they'll come up and say hello, or they'll ask me what I'm doing here and all that. And one little girl was looking intently at my ID, my picture on my ID, and then looking at me. Looking at my picture and looking at me, and the poor new teacher is, she doesn't know what's going on. Here's her superintendent in here, and this poor kid looks like she's getting ready to grill him. And so the little girl said, "There's something different about your picture." Now, I had just gone from wearing contacts to glasses, and so in the picture I had contacts, and in real life I was wearing glasses. So I knew that she had recognized contacts and glasses. I thought, that's pretty perceptive. And I said to her, "Well, what do you notice that's different?" And she looked at me and looked at the picture and looked at me and looked at the picture. She said, "You've got a lot more gray hair than you had in that picture." So that girl is still suspended. But it's funny because I looked at that picture and thought, she's right. So I went and got an updated picture 3 years ago. This week I was at Rogers Elementary again, in a third grade class again. And a little girl says to me, "Boy, you sure have a lot more gray hair now than you had in that picture." So again, it's joyous to go into schools and see our kids. So let me report on the state of our schools. I'm happy to report that the state of our schools is strong and getting stronger. Let me offer you some insight. Our bond work concluded this year. After updating all of our schools, we have just finished work on our administrative offices. And with the community support and under the leadership of Deputy Superintendent Larry Gallagher and Director Scott Francis, our bond work improved every classroom, refreshed our facilities, made our schools healthier and safer. We have more fresh air in our schools. We have our filtration station water fountains. We were able to boost our technology in our schools, and we created new spaces for learning and growth for our kids. So academically, our students continue to thrive, with 70% of last year's graduates having taken an AP class. It's an advanced placement class. That's college level material. 70% of the graduates took that. Nationwide, that average is about 37%. So we're crushing the national average on that. Our vocational education program continues to thrive as well, with a healthy 15% of our juniors and seniors enrolled in voc ed classes. Our staff continues to distinguish themselves. Julie Smith is the Oakland County High School Teacher of the Year. Martha Spear at Berkley High School and Maureen Watson at Anderson won statewide acclaim for their work in media arts. John Barth is a two-time Meridian Award winner for innovative practices in building management. Danny Ozanich of Angel Elementary is the National History Day Teacher of the Year. So because of their expertise, the expertise of all of our staff and our teachers, they're in high demand to present at conferences around the state, the county, and the area. And our students and our community benefit from our insistence on hiring and retaining only the best teachers and administrators, and that effort to work with those and hire only the best is led by Assistant Superintendent Chris Sandoval. Another area that we're concerned about is social and emotional health, and it's becoming more and more important for children and adults. So we've addressed that and continue to address it. We are the first district in the state to adopt Sources of Strength, which is a kind of self-advocacy program and support program for students. Our elementary schools are conducting mindful minutes to focus on the things that they can control. We are empowering our students through character education lessons, family circles, respect circles, the Bear Den at Berkley High School, and through other means. Our middle schools have been experimenting with policies to remove cell phones during the day so that students aren't consumed with checking the latest post or tweet. And there's evidence that this is helping them focus on their schoolwork and also help them be happier. One of the other key things we've done is to lead the area with a later daily start time at Berkley High School. Allowing students to get more sleep on a daily basis is key to their mental and academic health. I know that at times the later start time at Berkley High School can be inconvenient for adults, but there's no doubt that it's better for children, and that's our mission, is to take care of our kids. As you know, we work hard in our district to support, love, and educate every child who comes to us. Our special education team, led by Director Heather Lackey, does a tremendous job. One of the indicators of her team's success is when others come to study their work. This year, Vanderbilt University announced that Berkley is one of 4 districts statewide that Vanderbilt is going to study to better understand the work we do specifically with students who are on the autism spectrum disorder spectrum. This is great news for us and for our kids. We should all be proud of the work that that team does and all be proud of those students as well. So additionally, we focus on enriching opportunities for students to enhance their learning. Our Berkley Education Foundation pays for enrichment for over 400 elementary students per year. They also pay for sending every 8th grader to a college visit each year, along with teacher mini grants and many other things. The foundation has become a model for other districts, and our foundation is led by Jessica Stilger, who's also our Director of Communications. Jessica couldn't be here today, but she asked me to pass along her thanks and our thanks for the generosity of many of the people in this room and for our communities. Wanted also to remind you that our big fundraiser, Off to the Races, is on February 1st. Coming up, it's a great thing. If you've never been, it's a lot of fun. I've never seen people get so excited about cheering for horses who died a decade ago. So it's a lot of fun. If you haven't been there, you don't get that joke, but please come. So the foundation is always looking for donations, sponsorships, auction items, and just keep in mind all of that is for the good of our kids. So in the last 7 years, over 600 students have traveled internationally with the district and with our teachers, really across the globe. We also have an Exploring Detroit program closer to home. Our 8th graders annually visit Washington, D.C. One of the great things we do every year with our community and for our students is our annual Military Appreciation Day, which is coming up November 4th. We've been named a Best Community for Music Education for the 8th year in a row. So I could go on and on and on. I mean, there's so many great things going on in the schools because we have so many great people and we have so many great kids and so many great parents and such great support. But hopefully this little glimpse is enough to convince you and enough evidence that you would say, yes, we do have fantastic schools. And as I've mentioned, our great schools are a result of the wonderful mix of fantastic staff, great students, and great family and parent support, and of course, the support from the community, all 3 of our communities. Because of these efforts and many more, our district continues to be a destination district. We routinely have a waiting list of over 300 non-residents applying to come into our schools. All of this great work is not done in a vacuum. We're fortunate to have a great school board. They're one of the few Standard of Excellence boards in the state of Michigan is recognized by the MASB. They've earned this honor by taking classes on weekends and evenings and giving up their time to support our kids and our community. Please join me in thanking them. In addition to the school board, we also have a very strong strategic plan that's helped guide us. About 7 years ago, we sat down to create a vision for where we wanted to go as a district. That vision and that plan had components of all the things I've just mentioned and all the things we've done in the last several years. The physical improvements to our schools, the academic improvements, the rigorous hiring, the culture of love and support and excellence, and on and on. So doing the work to craft a vision for our future as a district has helped us live into that vision and make that vision come alive and think about where we want to be. What's our current reality and what do we want that future state to be for our kids? So this is all important because we've begun the work of re-envisioning our future and of trying to understand how we keep improving and keep pushing and keep moving forward. Now, people tend to devalue vision work. If you talk to people in businesses, they'll say, yeah, the business has a vision, we don't know what it is, it sits on a shelf someplace, or I remember going there and thinking about it, but don't remember anything else. Well, in our district, the vision matters, and it comes alive for us. Because if we don't have a vision for where we want to go, how do we know if we're getting there? How do we know if we're getting closer? And how do we know if we're on the wrong track? So for us, the vision is important, and I mention it today because it's part of the great work that's going on. So the vision that we're noodling with, so this isn't perfect and we're thinking it through and it hasn't been approved, but what we're thinking about is a statement that reads, we will continuously strive to be a model district, inspiring, empowering, and leading with our students, staff, and community. So let me read that again. We'll continuously strive to be a model district, inspiring, empowering, and leading with our students, staff, and community. We think that inspiring, empowering, and leading are powerful words. We think that it's critical to have student, staff, and community as part of our vision. We think that the word with is very important. We do our work with our students and with our community. Students in the community inspire and lead us as we hopefully inspire and lead them. So that vision isn't perfect, and no organization that's ever been led by a human being, and certainly none led by me, has ever been perfect nor ever will be. But we continuously strive to get better. And one of the things I've learned is that the more we invest in our schools, the more we invest in our communities, the more we invest in our relationships with each other, the stronger we all become. So my deep thanks to all of you, and on behalf of the school district, thanks for the support of all of us. Thank you.
I should just leave this up here since we've got another tall gentleman coming. Thank you so much, Superintendent McDavid. We appreciate your contribution today. And we're going to welcome up Huntington Woods Mayor Bob Paul.
Thanks, Nicole, and thanks to Darlene and the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event this morning. I'd also like to give my congratulations out to Andy and Lisa Gilbert from Berkley Eye Care and Local Sunglass and Such Great Heights Marketing for their awards they received this morning. 3 years ago, I addressed this group with my first State of the City address, having 1 year of experience under my belt as mayor. I started by joking with the crowd that I didn't know how I could possibly wrap up everything that happened during my first year on the job in 100 minutes. And then I reread my invitation and realized I was only allotted 10 minutes. Those of you that know me know that I'm not one that needs to hear myself talk, so I much prefer listening to the experts and those being affected and make a decision on what would be best for the city as a whole. So in reality, the 10-minute limit much more suited me. So in keeping with that time limit, I narrowed down this year's milestones to one major uprising, one major report, a couple of park improvements, some personnel changes, and a few nice words from others to confirm that we're still on the right road. One of our great programs at the library caught all the attention earlier this year, Drag Queen Storytime. An outside hate group decided that we shouldn't be exposing our children to this diverse program. They probably had a little different descriptive for the program than that. The entire city commission started receiving emails and letters from people and groups from outside the city. Our experience had showed us that the program was immensely popular. As a matter of fact, it had been our most attended story time program. It promotes the importance of reading and literacy while introducing children to a variety of people and viewpoints. As I said at the City Commission meeting, if one child feels more accepted or less bullied, or less likely to be depressed or suicidal because early in life they met someone who was different and also accepted, then we have exceeded greatly with this program. We have always talked about being welcoming and accepting in Huntington Woods. It was now our turn to both talk the talk and walk the walk. Local control, along with diversity, inclusiveness, and tolerance was what we talked about. The result was the largest attended City Commission meeting I remember in my 23 years on the Commission, with over 400 people in attendance. We anticipated the potential for a large turnout, so the meeting was moved to the Gillum Recreation Center. In the end, the citizens of Huntington Woods overwhelmingly backed our decision to continue the program. A commissioner resigned. Citizens formed a human barrier at the next story time to protect our children who attended the event from the protesters. We received positive local and national press, and the program has continued without issue. Personnel-wise, we appointed Michelle Elder to fill the vacant City Commission seat. She has proven to be a great asset to the community and has put her experience with the MEDC and background in urban planning, along with her life perspective, to work for the citizens of Huntington Woods. We're looking forward to working together for at least 4 more years, as she is running unopposed next month. Last year, I told you we formed a long-range budget and planning committee. They concluded their study and presented their final report to the city in August. Many of their recommendations are in the process of being enacted. The most significant one deals with our aging roads. The recommendation is to change our approach from complete reconstruction of smaller sections of the roads to a much more aggressive maintenance program, along with an injection of spending on repairs in the first few years of a 20-year plan. They were very creative in the recommendation on how to fund this program. The City Commission is currently finalizing wording for a ballot language that would authorize Act 345 funding to pay for public safety pensions to be placed in front of the voters next March. This will allow approximately $800,000 to be freed up in the general fund that we'll be able to use for the road program. We do have some shifting of responsibilities at City Hall when 20-year employee Joyce Solansky, our city clerk, retired. Heidi Barkholtz was promoted to clerk. Amy Hood moved to DPW, or from DPW to Heidi's position in the building department, and we hired Tara Pearson to fill Amy's slot. Lisa Anderson retired from Parks and Rec after 33 years. She started with our fruit camp programs, and as latchkey director and chair of the 4th of July parade and events, we calculate she directly impacted the lives of over 4,000 of our children in the community over her tenure. Jenny Furlong has some big shoes to fill, but we're sure she's up to the task. After 4 years on the job, I'm faced with re-election next month. I won't take credit for the AA+ bond rating the city has, the many awards we receive annually, saving Rackham Golf Course, passing a human rights ordinance, being the first city in Michigan to pass an ordinance banning conversion therapy, the many fine services we offer to our residents through DPW, Parks and Rec, the library, and public safety. But I can say that I'm very proud to be part of the community and part of the effort to make Huntington Woods the special place that it is. We could not be what we are without great neighbors like the city of Berkley, and we're very proud to be part of the Berkley School District. Our hardworking staff, which I'd like to introduce those that are here this morning: Amy Sullivan, our city manager; Ann Haig, our library director; Mary Gustafson, our Parks and Recreation director; and Rocco Futura, our DPW director. Together with our employees, they continue to provide a high level of service with a friendly attitude to our citizens. And of course, can't forget our great residents who volunteer, participate, and donate time and energy to the community. I'd also like to thank one of our city commissioners that made it here this morning, Jules Olsman, because without my fellow elected officials, we couldn't get all this done either. Moving on to the parks, the Scotia Park redevelopment has finally been completed with a new sign just installed last month. All the new landscaping has taken firm root, and our summer concert series will return to the park in full next year. This park received an award for landscape design from the Michigan Recreation and Parks Association in February. The Art and Garden Board spearheaded the revival of Statue Park, located on the east side of the city off Nadine between Huntington and Humber. With help from grants from the Clinton River Watershed Council and the Michigan Realtors Association, they rediscovered the small statue that had been donated to the city in the 1920s. It was buried in the brush and barely visible, and with a lot of labor and love of plants, they have redeveloped a shady, quiet, and peaceful place with a rain garden and benches for all to enjoy. I mentioned some kind words that have been said by others. In the last year, Huntington Woods has been named number 4 in the list of most charming cities in Michigan by Penny Geeks, number 5 in the safest cities in Michigan by Homestacks, and number 9 by Safewise. Homestacks added another award to our list by naming Huntington Woods number 2 in the best places to live in Michigan. And with a slight twist on that, they published the best place to live in each state of the union, and Huntington Woods won the award for Michigan, coming in 7th place among the 50. Business Insider finishes off our list of awards for the year with an award of the most educated city in Michigan, which is one of the reasons I feel very honored to be serving as mayor and humbled to be running for re-election unopposed. Not that the two are in any way related. In conclusion, I think I kept to my time limit. I can confidently say the state of the great city of Huntington Woods is strong, welcoming, accepting, and optimistic as we look forward to 2020 and the new decade. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Paul. And we will now welcome Berkley Mayor Dan Turbrack.
Wow, Bob, Dennis, bring this back down to my level. Is that good? We still on there? I can't. Oh, there we go. I can see it in front of me. Okay. Well, thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this wonderful event, and congratulations on this being the 19th State of the State. Nicole and Darlene, you guys do a tremendous job. We're extremely grateful for your partnership in working with us and continuing into the future. I also want to congratulate Andy and Such Great Heights, Brett and Tara, on their extremely well-deserved awards, well-deserved recognition, I should say, today. And although I am the one speaking, I do want to recognize my colleagues on council as well for all the work that they have done and continue to do for our city. I know we mentioned them earlier, but Mayor Pro Tem Steve Baker, I want to give a little wave. Councilmember Dennis Hennon, Councilmember Ross Gavin, Councilmember Eileen Stedman, Councilmember Jack Blanchard, and Councilmember Bridget Dean is hiding back there. So I want to thank all of them because we're gonna see a lot of great things today. We're gonna see some of the challenges that we're facing. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna do a little bragging about our community. And just like Bob, I can't take credit for all those things on my own, and I wouldn't want to either. So we're gonna spend some time looking at all those, but it wouldn't be possible without the great camaraderie that we have. It's been a pretty incredible year in the city of Berkeley. A year filled with trying new, innovative ideas, lots of development, and of course camaraderie among our neighbors at the many community events that we have. And like Bob and Huntington Woods, we had a few uprisings too. We're not going to get into too many of the uprisings for the most part today, but that does tend to happen. And I wanted to kick things off with, I said perhaps, but it actually is the most notable and important accomplishment of the year in the city of Berkeley. It's something that we have been striving for nearly a decade. Something that council and the staff were able to finally come together to accomplish a goal that honestly has eluded us. And Phil is not here, and no offense to him, but under his regime, he could not get the job done. And I'm very proud to say I'm proud to say that we were able to do that. Oh, I went the wrong way. Come on. There it is. Yes, we finally won the softball trophy. We have some other members of our team here. And here's the thing about this. The score was 17-16. I'm not lying. We scored 16 runs in the first inning and didn't score again until the most important run in the last inning of that game to win that trophy. It's really been difficult. We've had some close calls. I may have almost been kicked out of a couple of games for antics. But we got the job done. And then to top it off, we did win the horseshoe pitching contest as well. So it was a solid year for the staff and the council. All right, we'll get on to the actual important things now. We've known, and those of us that live in Berkley, we know what a great community Berkley is, and we know that we always view ourselves as the best. And over the last decade, we've really begun to catch the attention of state publications, but also, as you'll see, some national publications as well. First one here, the accolade that we received, these are all in 2019. #1 best suburb in Michigan. #1 best places to live in Michigan. 4th safest city in Michigan. This next one's really important. So #9 city in the United States for new families. So not just in the state of Michigan, in the United States, Berkley came in 9th. That's certainly an honor that we're incredibly proud of. And for the 29th year running, we were given the Tree City USA designation. And again, those of us that live in Berkley know that it's incredibly important for us. We are a city of tree-lined streets, and we want to make sure that that is part of our identity, and we continue to work towards achieving that goal and earning that designation on an annual basis. We heard about this a little bit earlier, but art continues to be added in our beautiful city. The city's received a number of new additions to our public art, and that's thanks to the Chamber and the work of the Chamber to be able to do that. And we are the benefactors who get to look at this tremendous art and add more talking pieces to our city. I also want to talk about summer in the city of Berkley this year, as again, Darlene mentioned early on, but a number of signature events that really help bring our community together. She mentioned Art Bash, and we have Art Bash in conjunction with Lids for Kids on the same day in June. In July, we have the Street Art Fest. August, the Cruise Fest. September, the County Oakland Irish Festival. So we put all of those great events together, and you add those with our other events, Berkley Days, Winterfest, Summerfest, the Fire Safety Open House, and the Holiday Lights Parade, which is not that far off, actually. As we saw at the last council meeting, it's going to be here before we know it. But the common theme among all of these great events is that they wouldn't be possible without the work of our community members that volunteer. And I know many of you in here are volunteers, or probably all of you in here are volunteers in some capacity. So before I go any further, I want to give every volunteer in this room a round of applause, because we wouldn't be Berkley without you. Last November, the community came out and voted in favor of the new road millage to help fund our goals of repairing and maintaining our local roadways. With that vote, we were able to bring in an additional $1.65 million this year to assist in creating a smoother ride for all of our neighbors. Derek, you got that? Good with that? Okay, perfect. But despite that, we do still have challenges that face our community. Infrastructure is going to continue to be a challenge for a nearly 100-year-old community. We talked about the road millage passing, the infrastructure, but we also had a millage proposal fail last November, which would have built a new community center. And while this is a setback, and I certainly hoped that we would be able to provide that community center for our community, we know there were reasons for this proposal not passing. But I'm committed to continuing that conversation. With the help of my colleagues on council, I've convened a group of interested residents to help determine the best way forward for a new community center, and I promise you the work is not done, and we will have something in this city that represents what we desire as a community, but also what fits the needs of all of our residents in the future. We also need to continue to be part of the regional conversation on drainage with the other members of the George Kuhn drainage communities. Last year in this space, I talked about some steps that we've taken locally, the restricted plate covers, some of the community meetings that we had on rain barrels and backflow preventers and the capacity study that can be used with GIS. But these alone will not provide the relief that can only come from a regional solution. We have a seat at the table. We're involved in that conversation, but we need to continue driving that conversation, that solution that we come up with benefits all of the communities in the region, not just one or a few. I've already touched on the community center. We need a new one in case you didn't get that, and we're going to in the future. But we also have other municipal buildings that are in need of repair. Our DPW does a tremendous job with the space that they have. And I don't know if it's possible for them to provide a higher level of service. I'm not saying that, Derek. I don't know. But if they actually had an adequate space, maybe then we could find out. And they don't. City Hall and the old court building, that was recommended by the Citizens Advisory Committee to be on last November's ballot for renovation. But council felt that already having 2 items on there, 3 was probably too much, and it probably wasn't going to work out. So we pulled that. But that doesn't mean that it's not a need in the future. It's a very inefficient space if you've been in our city hall, especially if you've walked through the maze in the back. It's an inefficient space for employees. It's an inefficient space for residents. And like Bob mentioned, they had to move a meeting. We have a very engaged citizenry in the city of Berkeley right now, and we are finding that a lot of our council meetings have standing room only seating. And we need to be able to accommodate the residents that do want to come and provide their input in council meetings. So bigger council chamber is important, but also meeting space for our committees. We have so many different committees and residents that volunteer and want to be involved. It's difficult for us to always find space in the community for them to meet. So there are some practical reasons that we do need to look at improvements to City Hall. Yes, there are challenges. And we need to address these challenges, and we will continue to address these challenges because we're going to accomplish what we need to accomplish. We're going to meet all the challenges that come in front of us, and Berkeley will continue to be the wonderful, vibrant city that we all know that it is. I'm going to take a couple minutes and go through some of our staff and departments here and get some of the good news that's happening in all those areas. First, we have some new faces. As many of you know who frequent our city departments, we've had some turnover and some new additions over the past year, including 3 new department directors. All of these individuals who are now choosing to serve our community, I thank them for their hard work, and we're excited to work with them for many years to come. I wasn't going to mention this, but I'm going to anyway. This is not even on the script here. I've had a number of folks come up to me over the past few months and say, how come there's so much turnover in the city? You guys keep losing people left and right. What's going on? Why is that happening? Well, I'm going to address it. There's a couple reasons. One, sometimes because Berkeley is such a well-respected place in the community, folks are here for a little while, and other folks come in and offer them positions that we can't necessarily compete with. That's part of the reason. Sometimes things just happen, and folks, personal reasons, and they have to leave. And other times, we have higher expectations and expect a higher level of service than maybe we're getting. And if that's the case, we can't be afraid to make changes because we owe our residents the best. And I am telling you, we have an incredible team in place right now, from the directors all the way down, from Matt and all of his directors and everybody. Berkeley's in a great place. We have tremendous leadership. And I anticipate that we'll be able to keep this core together for the future. And I'm telling you all this, so if anybody comes and tries to poach you, Derek, Teresa, and Matt, you guys aren't going anywhere, sorry. Just stay here, okay? Now, the new faces. Officer Zach Harmon in Public Safety, Matt Wells and Brian Lapine in DPW, Mark Pollock, Finance, Dan Hill in the City Manager's Office, Aaron Sluto, our Community Development Director, Victoria Mitchell is our City Clerk, and Tori Mathis in the City Manager's Office, but also handling the communications for the city, and this is her work here. It's not mine, this presentation that you guys are looking at. She did a great job, thank you, Tori, including taking a phone call at about 10:45 last night when I had a little reconciliation between what was on my script versus the slides, so I appreciate that. So let's dig a little deeper into some of these departments. In November 2018, the City Clerk's Office experienced the largest voter turnout that I can recall, and you can see on the slide nearly 73% turned out to vote in that election. That is absolutely incredible. I know we have an election coming up in a couple of weeks, and I'm not sure that we're necessarily going to hit that level for this election, but I would bet November of 2020, we're going to be very close and probably even higher than that. We have a very engaged citizenry right now. Moving on to our community development department, issued 466 permits, including 26 new homes. Well, these totals are a little bit of a decrease from the prior years. These developments have actually provided an estimated $9.1 million in construction value here in Berkley. The slide you're looking at compares 2009 to 2019. No, we didn't cherry pick 2009 because we all know what happened to the economy there. It just happens to be 10 years from where we are today. But you can see the difference, the stark number in terms of the value on the bottom line there, $750,000 to $9.1 million in terms of the values of the new addition added to our community. Let's see it again. Now we move into our finance department. Our finance department has long been an integral part, obviously, of what we do from a budgeting perspective. They continue to make sure that we're spending responsibly and, most importantly, transparently. Mark, Lori, and Sue do an absolutely wonderful job, and to show that this year, they received the Transparency Awards from the GFOA, the Government Finance Officers Association. This is something we are incredibly proud of. Transparent budgeting practice is something that we talk about. It's something that we preach. Well, now we have something that backs up to say we actually are doing what we say we're doing. We're not just saying things like tends to happen sometimes. We also are committed to funding our liabilities and keeping the promises that we've made. We've paid towards our liabilities a total of $650,000, ultimately putting us in a much more resilient financial position, and we will continue to honor those promises that we've made and make sure that we are funding our liabilities moving forward. Those payments, along with everything that we do to provide city services to the community, come from property taxes and the taxable values of the city. This year we saw an increase in the city's taxable value of about 6.7%, up to about $605 million. And we know how Proposal A caps our values. If it weren't for Proposal A, it'd be closer to $787 million. Now, again, that doesn't mean that that's how much money we have. No, we've got about a $25 million budget, but that is the taxable value reflected in our city. This year, our Department of Public Works put in a ton of effort. They always do, I should say, but they put in a ton of effort ensuring that our city stays very well functioning and extremely clean and very well respected. Without them, our infrastructure wouldn't even be in the condition that it is right now. They've earned them the distinction of Humanitarian of the Year by the Berkley Days Association. I cannot think of a more deserving group of folks than our DPW. So Derek and your staff, well deserved. Further advancing their ability to manage our infrastructure, Public Works has really upped their tech game in the last couple of years. As they delve deeper into GIS, Geographic Information System. This powerful tool has allowed us to integrate our Public Works database, allows us to inventory our water mains and lines. Berkley is a leading community in the use of GIS. In fact, our very own Derek Schuler went to present at a national conference not too long ago this past summer on some of our techniques. Again, we're being recognized as being leaders and being innovative, and having Derek come and speak there, that's a tremendous honor for our city. I want to highlight DPW's great work on the completion of the Coolidge Water Main Extension project that happened between 12 Mile and Webster. We've got a new 12-inch main, improves flow in the area, and it eliminates a dead-end section of pipe. The $700,000 project was also completed, two important things here, under budget and on schedule, as Derek typically does, despite a very rainy start to the summer. Oh, we're going to keep going here. Okay, sorry, I already missed one. We did have a very unfortunate event happen with our DPW this year as we unexpectedly lost Eric Davis. But we're a family and we're a community. And to honor one of their own, DPW placed a memorial space for Eric. And you can see just this past July they held a dedication with Eric's family and friends to honor that memory. And again, we are a family, we are a community, and we do take care of each other. All right, moving into the library. Remember when the internet came out? Everyone thought that books were dead and that just wasn't going to happen anymore. Well, they hadn't met Matt Church, apparently. Now, our library celebrated its 90th birthday last October, and in March of this year, the Detroit Free Press distinguished Berkeley's public library, along with some other surrounding communities, as Oakland County's hip library. And we have the numbers to show it. Like, I didn't make it up. That's what it says. In 2018, 2019, we circulated 157,000 library items. That includes books, DVDs, and learning software, which is a 4.6% increase over the last year. We had a total of 111,901 visits to the library, which includes residents enjoying an array of tremendous library programs, which we have a lot. You can see on there how many programs we have, people that are involved, and just how much our library is actually used in our community. But it's also become a hub for community events in surrounding area. From the picture above, or the picture you're looking at there, you can see the wide range of activities that happen at our library. So we had Wayne Kramer on a Michigan Notable Book Tour, the Battle of the Books for Adults, which was a partnership with Ferndale, Huntington Woods, and Oak Park, again, being involved with our community members. Vitrine Gallery partnership, which brings in a featured artist each month to display at the library. And again, coming soon, but certainly super important right now, Santa's Mailbox, refurbished thanks to Berkeley resident Mark Casey. And look, there he is. None of these things would have happened without Matt Church, who, just like DPW, was very, very deserving of the award that he received this year at Berkeley Days Humanitarian of the Year. Matt and Kristen in that picture, but congratulations, Matt, and thank you for all you do. Moving along into the Parks and Rec Department. It's been a very busy year as well. Over the summer, we had record camp turnout with a total of 427 campers, which was almost a 20% increase from the following year. Now, if you've driven past a community center or on Robina, you notice that there is no longer an ice arena around. And it would be very difficult for us to maintain our camp service without the tremendous relationship that we have with the school district, allowing us to use Anderson Middle School for our camp. And there's so many things that we do that are connected with the school district and with our other communities or our neighbors. But this wouldn't be possible without them. So I want to thank Dennis and the school board members and everybody there for allowing us to be able to not only continue to have our camp, but allowing us to exceed and have one of our best camps ever. Parks and Rec Department and the Friends of the Parks and Rec have been hard at work keeping our parks beautiful and clean. Friends Park has had a handful of upgrades over the past year as well. There was a park cleanup day hosted where walkway paths were trimmed, painted picnic tables and benches to enhance the overall park appearance. The Friends also worked with community Eagle Scouts to install new sandboxes and 2 chess tables in the park. And lastly, in the Parks and Rec Department, as many of you may have heard, the great news regarding the upcoming upgrades to Merchants Oxford Park. I'd like to give you a quick update on that progress. Now, this shows 5 years, the last part of the very valiant 5-year process that we've been going through, and we're finally on the cusp of development. But I promise you this started more than just 5 years ago. And again, it goes back to the relationship that we have with the school board and with the school district in order to have meeting, collaboration, coming to agreements to be able to get to a point where we were able to purchase that land from them and able to now redevelop that into a park. But it took a lot of time, it took a lot of effort, and I'm telling you, it does not happen if we don't have the relationship that we have. And it hasn't always been that way, and I'm sure Dennis and the school board will tell you, it hasn't always been that way, but we are in a very good place right now, and I certainly want that to continue, and I thank all of you for that. So, where are we now? Well, we're currently working on bid documents. Teresa and her team working on bid documents, which will begin in early 2020. Following that, hopefully construction will be underway next spring, with completion of the park in the fall of 2020. The grant we received that we're talking about will allow us to do a walking path, restrooms, which we don't have at any other park in the community, and a splash pad, which is a pretty important thing that a lot of our residents are very excited about. But the city will also be funding a new play structure there, picnic tables, shade benches, and a bioswale area as well. In the future, we also hope to be able to put in a pavilion somewhere around the restrooms at that park as well. It's not very common, it's not very often that you're going to have the ability to develop a new park in a community like Berkeley. But we do have this opportunity right now, and you can see it's been longer than a 5-year process. It's going to be at least a 6 or 7 year process by the time it's all said and done, but we're incredibly excited. And Teresa and her team are doing just a wonderful job leading us through this process, and getting excited to see a couple shovels go back there in the spring and start some development. Moving on to public safety, the Department of Public Safety wrapped up construction on the extension to the fire hall well in advance of delivery of the fire truck. That'll be here in 2020. But next up on public safety's agenda is updating the dispatch center, which is in dire need of upgrades, and that's going to happen over the next few months. But all of these updates are to ensure that we're able to best serve the community in the future. That's always our goal. Our public safety officers, as you know, are second to none in the jobs that they do, and not only what they do as officers, but also the work that they do in the community, as we mentioned at Lids for Kids, at the Fire Safety Open House, and everything else that they do. And I think it's incredibly important. That's why they're true community policing, and our residents certainly know that, and they all respect them for the jobs that they do every day. We also lost Public Safety Officer Scott Smith. He's now Sergeant Scott Smith. So I know we didn't lose him that way. We just changed designation. Scott received a promotion, a very well-deserved promotion to the rank of sergeant, and we're certainly grateful and proud of him. And yeah, I'm sure he's moved seamlessly into the leadership side of things on there. We also had the honor of welcoming the Stephen Siller Tunnel to Towers 5K organization that we've had the last few years here in the city. And at this year's event, our very own Sergeant Justin Frost was awarded the Stephen Siller Follow the Footsteps Award for his work with Mission 22. Congratulations to Sergeant Frost. We're all very proud of you and the great work that you will continue to do. Justin Frost, did I say Scott Frost? If I did, no, it was in my head because that's a Nebraska football coach. Sergeant Justin Frost, if I didn't. For some reason it came through. Michigan's not even playing them this week. But Justin does a tremendous job, and again, all the work that he does volunteering, that shows it. That's very common for our officers and for our sergeants. He's not only leading in the department, but he's also leading by example. And just as a side note, that is a tremendous, the Siller organization does a tremendous job with that run. If you haven't been able to at least be a part of the before and after, I'm not saying you got to do the 5Ks because I haven't done the Ks, but I was there before. It is they do a tremendous job honoring first responders in 9/11. Now I'm going to get to the end and close here. I don't know if I'm probably close to my 10 minutes. I might be over right now. I haven't gotten yanked off the stage yet. But we wouldn't be what we are in the city of Berkeley without our residents, and I want to highlight a few residents here. We're great in many ways, but none of that would be possible without folks like Jeff Tong. Jeff Tong is a Berkeley 2019 Citizen of the Year, but Jeff is a lifelong Berkeley resident. He's a U.S. Air Force veteran. He's a founding member of the Berkeley Historical Committee. He's the curator of the Berkeley Historical Museum. He's an author. He's a history savant. He's a youthful septuagenarian. Put it in there anyway. Berkeley Days committee member, selfless community volunteer, and honestly just an all-around great guy. And it's an honor for us to be able to honor everything that Jeff has done for our community and continues to do. So thank you, Jeff. Our superintendent mentioned this, but we also want to highlight Danny Ozanich as a National Teacher of the Year, winning the Hannah McGregor Teacher of the Year Award for History. She was nominated among 114 teachers, and we are incredibly proud of Danny. And this is one you might not be as familiar with, but Mr. Josh Pearson. He is the Top of Michigan Outboard Marathon winner for 2019. He's a 9-time winner, actually, for the Top of Michigan Outboard Marathon. His first win was in 2006. His last win was this year in 2019. And I know I speak for the whole community when I say congratulations on this amazing feat, and it's a boat racing marathon. Just in case you were not sure what outboard meant, that's what we're talking about. But congratulations to Josh. Before I close, I have one very important note for everybody. We've got a very important day happening next year on April 1st, 2020. Okay, it's National Census Day, and your participation does matter. It's critical to ensuring that our community is properly represented and supported. To be best prepared for the census and to learn more, head over to berkeleymish.org/BerkeleyCounts. So, I bragged about a few things today, talked about some challenges, and ended with the most important part of our community, which is our residents, which drives us. We know this if we live in the community, and no offense to our neighbors, but Berkley truly is the place that you want to be. We have tremendous things happening. We have an incredible vision for the future, development on the horizon, and we're attacking our challenges head on. The future is bright, and the state of our city is strong and vibrant. Thank you to the Chamber, and thank you for everyone for giving me a little longer than I needed today.
Thank you, Mayor Turbrack. That is going to conclude our State of the City's address for today. Thank you so much for coming. Before you all get up and go about your day, I just want to say thank you again to Roseanne Nicolai, Roseanne Nicolai, Roseanne Nicolai. She's a fabulous Berkley Chamber of Commerce director, and Roseanne and Darlene. Without them, none of this could happen. So thank you all. Thank you all for coming. Have a great weekend.